Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Noah CD, aka KingCheetah. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be going over a track breakdown of my song entitled Be My Pill. It is off of my newest EP called Cataclysm, out now on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Beatport, and every other major streaming service. I want to get right into it today, so we're going to be looking at all the elements I used in this song, starting with the drums. I'm going to solo the drum group and show you guys what I've got on there. To start things off, I've got an EQ8, cutting everything below about 30 hertz, followed by a parallel glue or New York compressor. I'm using a glue compressor, followed by dry channel in parallel. Looks like I got the decibels set a little differently there to mix them together. If you want to learn more about New York compression, go ahead and just search that term. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on that. I might do one later, but let's get into this more. Followed by that, I have the PSP Vintage Warmer 2, which is a great compressor. I use it on basically every channel in this template, every group in this template, sorry, just to compress things a little different. There's a lot of different options to tweak with this VST. That's why I like it. So go ahead and find that if you can. So first things first, I've got the kick here. Looks like I'm cutting everything below about 70 hertz on the kick. I've got it soloed, so I'll show you what that sounds like. We're kind of raising the highs after about 516 hertz to get a little more top end on this. It's not too thick, mainly because I have a sub bass going under it. So this does duck, or the sub bass does duck out when the kick hits with a side chain. But yeah, I just kind of like this kick. I found it from Cymatics. Let me see down here. You see that on there? Yeah, you can. So down here it shows down in this area right here, if you hover over the sample, it'll show you where it came from. It's a Cymatics Omega sample, kick tuned to D, which is the key of this song. So let me stop the kick. Next I've got a clap snare bus, which is just a blank track, which I have all of my claps and snares routed to. I do this just to blend things together a little easier. You could, I guess, resample if you're going to be using multiple claps and snares. You could resample it into one. However, I like to pan things, and sometimes when you consolidate all the samples into one sample, you don't get as many options. So I keep them separate. And this one I'm using 2 claps and 2 snares. Also the snare bus for you guys. This is a halftime beat, so everything's on the 3. Clap and snare on the 3. Next we've got, I don't believe I used a knock in this track. Next we got a snap, which is in the beginning. This one I put a little bit of processing onto. I'm cutting everything below 250 hertz, and then more parallel glue. I've got this basic setup on everything in this template: an EQ8, a parallel glue, and that's how I kind of start stuff. Followed by that, I'm using Valhalla Room Reverb, which is my favorite reverb. Go ahead and look that up. If you can grab a copy, I would highly recommend it. Here's all the settings for that if you want to try and copy them. I will show you what that guy sounds like. Next, I'm cutting some more lows. I like to do that after reverb just to make sure there's no mud being thrown around in the reverb. I'm compressing it. I tend to do, if not the same amount of makeup as I'm taking away in the threshold, if not double. It looks like I'm doing double for this one. And then finally an auto pan to give it that left-right feel. Going down the drums, next we have a hi-hat, a closed hi-hat. I'll solo this guy and show you guys that. You might be asking what all these envelope followers are on here for. I put those on so that I've done a video about this. It's called sidechain mixing, or is the term that I was introduced to it by. But if you look at my clap and snare on this track, I'm doing the same thing with these envelope followers, and that is so that all my groups get ducked. You can see it happening right here. The main frequency of my hi-hat is ducking on every other channel, ensuring that my hi-hat comes through the mix every time. Same with my snare, my main snare and main clap. I don't do it for all the claps and snares. I'll tune all my samples to the track. However, I won't duck them like this, sidechain them. Going down the line next. Let's see, let me close some of these up so I know where I'm at. Open hi-hat. I think I only use this in parts. Ride crash. I did make a reverse crash, so I'll show you guys all the symbols right now. I might be cutting that hi-hat a little too much. It does sound kind of dry. Well, there's nothing really under it, so I guess that's why I was cutting it so much. Okay, after these cymbals, I don't believe I put any fills in this song, which is kind of odd for me. So yeah, that's it for the drums. I'll solo those and show you guys the main beat. Pretty simple, kind of slow. This was the first track that I've ever played guitar on. I started playing bass when I was like 15, so guitar has always been something I've been kind of interested in. Recently got an acoustic guitar and recorded this song with that. It was really fun to start fiddling around with the guitar. Yeah, I hope to do it again in the future. We'll go through that right after the sub and bass, which is next is the sub. On here I've got some compressors for side chaining, but I found that I didn't even use that on this track, so kind of neat. These are all just samples from Cymatics. I believe every single one is from Cymatics. Different packs. If you guys have Ableton 10, you can use the collections over here, which I've done. I've put 808s over here in a purple category, which makes it really, really easy to dig through sub or just any kind of sample, really. Feature I highly appreciate. It's a pretty simple sub line. It follows the guitar line, which is just 3 notes, but I did find different tones that I liked. Alright, next we have bass. This is all done with Serum, I believe. Yeah, Serum, and then bounce down to audio. If there's something on here, I can show you guys. I would call myself a preset tweaker, if you will. I like to, kind of start with a preset and then find a way of customizing it myself. So, is this one of my own? Yeah, so I copied this bass preset from Cymatics Jaws presets. There's one called Carburetor that I liked a lot, and so I made a version called My Broken Ass Carburetor. It's pretty easy, simple synth. It's kind of like a stab with a little bit of just downsample distortion on it. Here's the effects I use. Here's the oscillators. No noise. 2 envelopes. So one is real short. And I believe in here that is doing some detuning. So yeah, master tuning right there for that envelope 2. Real quick detuning. So next, after I bounce those down to audio, I just kind of followed the pattern that I had going with the kick, I believe. So it gave it like some... Oh, let me stop. The MIDI's still playing with it. And so below each of these is the sub. With both of those, it sounds like this. And then the kick as well. So if I do all 3 of those together. And then unsoloed, it sounds... not too complicated, I hope, for you guys. Let's keep going here. Next would be the guitar. So after drum, sub, bass was the guitar. I think I started with the guitar on this song, so you know, you just kind of start with an element that you like, and then hopefully keep elaborating on that, and something good will come from it, hopefully. This first guitar, we'll go over the processing. I've got an EQ8. Looks like I'm subtracting 6 decimals right away. Maybe that's to add it back with the New York glue or parallel glue. I'm not sure. Maybe I recorded it hot. I really don't know why that's like that. But to start out, I've got an EQ8 doing a basically a low pass on it, and it comes in like this. I've got Guitar Rig and Valhalla room reverb on there. Like I was saying with the preset tweaking, I believe I did that here. I'm using a white clean preset that I managed to get to sound good for my own needs. Okay. Tell me my mouse is dying. Followed by reverb, and then I'm cutting more of the lows with the reverb. I think basically about 3 hertz more than before, 2 hertz more than before. This is the reverb not preset. Was it a preset that I tweaked? Yeah. So there's rooms and stuff. I believe I used Bright Space Cathedral. Cathedrals maybe? Yep. Where is it? No, it's not in there. There it is. In big spaces. A cathedral is a pretty big space, I would say. So, after that, I put a little bit dirtier of a distortion on the guitar and kind of chopped it to come in and out with the song. I can show you that. I believe it's like a Blink-182 preset that I tweaked a little bit. I'll show you guys this because it's one of my favorite things with Ableton to do with audio. So here I took this part of the sample like this and consolidated it, Command J, and then I came over to the warp type, put it on beats, and then I believe it was 8th. And you want this arrow facing forward only, and then this 100 I brought down pretty low to like, I believe below 30, maybe even more, but let's listen. And so if you consolidate that, it's going to make stabs out of the guitar, which sounds pretty cool. You can get further like stabby sounding if you chop these. To do that, I'm just highlighting and then placing my cursor in the top portion of the clip and dragging down slightly, and it'll cut your sample right there. And then you can add some fades in like this, and it'll get a little bit more stabby. Like really exaggerate it. That reverb wants to keep coming through, but if you bring this the fades down a lot, you won't hear that, and it'll get kind of glitchy almost. Yeah, so that's what I did with that. And then I consolidated it again, and it looks like this. I'm going to put this one back. That was guitar 2. For guitar 3, I found a melody line out of Cymatic's Humble sample pack. It was in D minor, the same key as my track, and it had a really good lead melody going that I copied onto the vocals, which I'll show you guys here next. Here's the guitar loop. It's kind of got like an XX vibe to it. You can listen to that with the vocals and you'll see how it follows the melody line. I can't see your face. Did you leave this place? Now I'm lost in air. Won't you be my girl? Alright, so onto the vocals. I did these myself here in this room. I made a little recording studio out of my closet here. Put a vocal mic in there and then some sound proofing, and it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with it. I did a lot of different panning with this to kind of widen the vocals out. So if you look here, I've got left, center 1, center 2, and right, and all of these are the same track. So if we come down here and just solo my vocals, Casey vocals, I can't see your face. I'm pretty sure. Did you leave this place? Yeah, so I did that this way and left the originals up here so that I have a copy of the auto tune that I used. It's pretty heavy on my vocals. Here's the settings I used. Tuned it to D. Alto tenor, return speed 6, humanize 100, amplitude amount 20, pitch amount 100, format amount 70. Up here, throat amount 120, format on. I'm not transposing it up or down at all. And that gave me this sound. I can't see your face. Like a lot of us, I hate the sound of my own voice, and so I had to disguise it so much that I couldn't tell it was me, and so that made me happy with the song. Let's keep going. I've got some like vocal effects going on that I pulled from, where is it? It's Contact, but Output makes an exhale VST that you have to put in Contact. It's actually a really nice VST with a bunch of vocal samples all sliced up and mixed together and rearranged and stuff. This thing might take a while. I've never seen this view here. It might be glitching out on me. I've never seen this view. Well, anyways, it's a cool vocal effect, synth, I guess is what you would call it. Here's the sample I ended up pulling from it. Cutting everything below 129 hertz, parallel glue, auto pan at like 20%, so it's not all all the way going left and right. And then I believe I'm side chaining it to the kick and clap. Yeah. So just this guy I was side chaining. Vocal looks like most of my other groups with the EQ8, parallel glue, and then the vintage warmer. So those are everything for my vocals. Did I show you guys what I was cutting off of there? So I've got each channel almost compressed down to nothing, or frozen down to no effects on them. These ones, this one doesn't. This guy I must have left an EQ on. Same with this one with an auto pin. I thought I had froze all these. Oops. But then last here in the vocal group, I forgot I have like a little effect that comes in and out. I believe it's what you hear right in the beginning of the track too. Yeah, it's like the first thing you hear. Okay, finally the effects. Pretty straightforward, some atmosphere. A lot of this stuff's from Cymatics. Most of the samples I use are from Cymatics. I really like their stuff. But it's really easy to drop into your song as well, which is highly appreciated. So first off, I've got this, I believe it's an Impact. Yeah. Next, oops, sorry. Next is this kind of atmospheric sound. Third was this one, more ambience. I'm doing a high pass filter on this. Kind of reminds me of like an old Windows loading tone or something. I'm not sure. White noise next. I got 2 channels of that. Second one sounds like it has some reverb built into it. And then for this release, I disabled my vocal tag, but I'll show you guys that. Excuse me. I had a woman who, I believe she was from Britain. She had an accent that I really liked.
You're now listening to KingCheetah.
So I recorded it, I had her say that, and then put some reverb and auto-tune on there to get it to sound not like her. Here it is again.
You're now listening to KingCheetah.
And then last but not least are my risers. Pretty minimal. Normally I'll have more than just one riser in a track. But this one was pretty simple, so I will close out by playing the whole song for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, hopefully with other producers from Portland, Oregon here. If you guys don't follow my other page, What's Next PDX, go ahead and do that. I'll put a link in the description. I'll be kind of cross promoting the track breakdowns on those platforms. So again, thanks for tuning in. Here's the whole song.
You're now listening to KingCheetah.